Iran now confirms it is indeed preparing for a solid fuel rocket launch. The announcement after satellite images showed activity at a desert launch pad just yesterday. These are they. And the Iranian regime reports it'll test a rocket that carries satellites. But a recent U.S. intelligence threat assessment claims a successful satellite launch shortens the timeline to an intercontinental ballistic missile for Iran. This is the same launch site where the Iranians have failed several times recently to send a satellite into orbit. A Pentagon spokesman says the U.S. military will continue to closely monitor Iran's pursuit of viable space launch technology and how it may relate to advancements in its overall ballistic missile program. Michael O'Hanlon now, senior fellow at the Brookings Institution. Michael, what does this mean for the power dynamics in the Middle East, and in particular for the safety of U.S. troops?
Hi, Shepard. I'm not that worried about the U.S. troops because, as you know, Iran is very good at covert warfare and feels it can essentially hold its own in that domain against us and really achieve a lot of the goals it sets out for itself in places like Syria and Yemen. It doesn't tend to attack our major military facilities directly because it wants deniability and it doesn't want retaliation. So, for example, in our big presence in Iraq during the heyday of that occupation effort, the Iranians would ship in weaponry and it would go to the extremist groups, and they would sometimes place roadside bombs, and those bombs would kill Americans. But the Americans, we knew what was going on, but there was still a multi-step process that made it harder for us to retaliate directly against any one location, any one installation. Now, Donald Trump had enough of that after a while, and as you know, assassinated or killed Qasem Soleimani, and I think there was a lot of bipartisan support for that decision of President Trump when he did that 2 years ago, because Soleimani was the ringleader and mastermind. But for a long time, Iran felt it could operate in that kind of a covert space. And I think it still prefers that. It still prefers to avoid inviting direct retaliation by U.S. military forces that are better at this kind of thing than they are. They're good at covert stuff. We're good at the more direct stuff. So I think they'll stay with the covert activities.
So on this rocket launch, is there reason for concern for the U.S. or no?
You know, it's one incremental. You can spell out a scenario where if Iran has the ability to hit Europe or the United States someday, maybe with a nuclear weapon, that would be some kind of relevant factor in a crisis. But Iran's very unlikely to ever want to do that because, of course, we would retaliate massively. And they don't have the nuclear weapon yet. And they're ways away from having an ICBM that could hit the United States. So I think they'll stay much more active doing what they're good at, which is bad enough already for us. But I don't see this as a major development. Certainly, if they can put satellites into space, they're a lot closer to an ICBM. But there are just so many reasons why that's not likely to be their first choice for how to go to war with us that I don't rate it as one of my top 10 concerns.
So more concerned about uranium enrichment, really, than anything else?
Yeah, because that bomb they can use in the region, you know, I don't think they're going to use that bomb either, but they can try to make people fear them, make it harder for us to believe that we could retaliate against them. With an ICBM, however, you know, they got multiple steps of development they still have to go through. We can see it on its way. We have potential options to shoot it down, just as we do today with North Korea's ICBMs. And so it's not good, but again, it's not the top tier concern, and I think it's lower than a nuclear weapon in its likely salience.
I hear you. Some context from Michael O'Hanlon. Thank you.